What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My apologies for the lack of content recently. I have been insanely busy, and I've also recently had some big life changes that I will tell you guys about at some point down the road. I've also been working on some very big videos for a little bit, and that has also taken up a lot of time. But in the midst of it, I've also had the opportunity to catch up on some relatively recent films, and today we're going to be talking about one of them, and that film is Love Lies Bleeding. The film was written by Rose Glass, and I'm gonna try Weronika Tofilska? And it was directed by Rose Glass. The film tells the story of Lou, a manager at a gym in the 1980s who falls in love with Jackie, a female bodybuilder who is passing through town en route to a bodybuilding competition in Las Vegas. But when Lou's dark family legacy resurfaces after an unexpected event, the lovers endure on a grueling, suspenseful journey of crime, violence, and love. Going into this movie, I hadn't seen Rose Glass's previous feature film, Saint Maud, but I did have the knowledge, obviously, that it was a critical darling of a horror film, and so that did set my expectations high a little bit. What got me most excited about this movie, amongst other things, was Kristen Stewart. I think that Kristen Stewart is an insanely talented actress. She gets way too much undue shit for Twilight. Most of the issues with that movie, I think we can throw on the director and the script and also the source material. Let's stop lying to ourselves. I know Twilight recently has been having this resurgence where people are like, wait, no, it's actually good. No, it's not. Stop lying to yourself. It's not good. You can enjoy it, but it's not good.
It's like diamonds.
Regardless, ever since Twilight ended, Kristen Stewart has made very careful decisions as an actress when it comes to the movies that she signs on to, and I think that she's built quite the legacy for herself. She's an insanely talented actress, and every time she's in a movie, I make a note to see it as soon as it comes out. I also loved what this movie was being pitched as, this sort of dark and seedy erotic thriller that takes place in the 80s, and it's rated R, and I don't know, all of those puzzle pieces just seemed to fit together so well. I was very excited to see what they were gonna do with it. And obviously it being an A24 film also did a lot for me. Look, A24 has made some bad movies, but god damn it, the good movies that they've made are kind of the best in their respective genres. A24 is, in my opinion, made some of the best movies of all time, and there's a reason why even when A24 releases a not so good movie, filmmakers still love that studio because their business model prioritizes the artists and the creative vision. Obviously, they still care about making a profit, and you can see that in the way they market their films, but when it comes to the films themselves, it definitely feels like A24 is a champion for creative freedom when it comes to the writers and directors who have their movies produced by them. So my expectations, needless to say, were pretty sky high for this one, but did it live up to those expectations? Well, as you guys know, I always prefer to get my negatives out of the way first because I always prefer to end on a positive note when it comes to film and filmmaking. So let's start off with the negatives. First of all, there is a character in the film that I feel is detrimentally underwritten. They sort of operate as comic relief, but at a certain point in the story do become kind of integral as a plot point, or at least a pawn to fulfill certain arcs and certain beats of the story. It also doesn't help that the character was annoying as fuck. Seriously, I swear to God, when this character first appeared on screen, I instantly was like, kill this bitch. This motherfucker, please. I hope this person dies. And maybe that was intentional given the way the film plays out. I'm not sure. It's just in the midst of everything else in the film, this character just kind of felt like a disruption every time they were on screen. And other than that, honestly, I don't really have any negative criticisms of this movie. So let's talk about everything I loved about this movie because there's quite a bit. First of all, this is a gorgeous looking film. The cinematography is genuinely breathtaking and it serves the narrative narrative of the film so incredibly perfectly. The amount of effort put into capturing the setting and time period is also astonishing. This is a very remote, deserty sort of town where everyone seems to be harboring a dark secret of some sort. Speaking of which, the character work in this film is masterful, and the chemistry between Lou and Jackie is on fire. These two actresses truly outdid themselves with these roles, and as I already said, I love Kristen Stewart. This might be in my top 2 or 3 favorite performances that I've ever seen from her. But let us not overlook the equally great Katie O'Brien, who portrays Jackie in the film, who, yes, as we all know, is a real-life bodybuilder, but in this film proves herself to also be an astonishingly talented actress. But back on those characters, I love how flawed they are. And obviously a rule of screenwriting is to make sure that your characters have at least a few flaws so that they're more realistic and relatable and not, you know, just these perfect characters that are completely unbelievable as people. But the characters in this film, as much as I love them and care about them and was invested in their story, they're not exactly the moral high ground of society. They say and do things that are horrible, sometimes out of desperation, but also sometimes just out of pure rage. I would honestly liken it to certain characters in Breaking Bad, you know, these people that you kind of love and hate at the same time, but ultimately you do want to see them make it out and be okay. Now, this is a romantic thriller, and I'm gonna be totally honest, the thriller part of the film, the thriller aspects of it do take a minute to get going, but I simply don't care because, as I said, the romance between Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien in this movie is so poignant and tangible. That being said, when the darker soul of this film fully possesses it, this movie becomes a non-stop, heart-pounding thrill ride until the very end. I don't even have words to fully describe how anxious I was in certain scenes, how scared I was for the characters at other moments, and also how truly vindicating and satisfying other scenes were. A certain event towards the end of the film has polarized people though whenever they talk about this movie, and honestly, I understand. Even on initial viewing, I was very taken aback by it, and I wasn't entirely sure if it worked for me. It initially felt like it betrayed the tone and the feel and sort of the groundedness of the rest of the movie, and while it did work for shock value, it was kind of frustrating in the moment. However, upon reevaluation and sort of having time to analyze the film through and through and sort of develop my own interpretations of what I feel it's saying and the types of themes that it's going for, I've actually come to really love that moment, but I do understand how inaccessible it is for wider audiences. So guys, in conclusion, Love Lies Bleeding is a thrilling, romantic, extremely original film that boasts incredible writing, characters, and a truly damning journey through some of the darker sides of crime and love. Guys, I want to thank you so much as always for watching. I am currently working on video essays for Season 1 of The Last of Us, Season 2 of The Walking Dead, as well as Twister, since Twisters is coming out this year. I've always wanted to talk about that original Twister film from the 90s, and I'm very excited to do that. I also recently finished playing Detroit Become Human for the first time. I've been meaning to play that game forever, and I finally got to play it without having anything spoiled beforehand, surprisingly enough. I know, that's kind of hard to believe, but it's the truth, and wow, I really want to do a review of that game, but if you're familiar with the way that game is structured, I probably need to complete a couple more playthroughs before I do a dedicated review to it. Guys, be sure to leave a like and a comment on this video. Let me know what you thought of Love Lies Bleeding. I'm very excited to hear all of your takes, and also if you would like to go that extra mile, do subscribe to the channel. It supports me a lot. It really means the world to me, and if you want to go even further, go ahead and turn on those bell notifications so you get notified every time that I upload new content. If you would like to follow my personal and creative endeavors outside of just the YouTube channel, you can follow me on Instagram at @TheXavierReichbaum, or you can also follow the official account for my production company, which is at Headspace Productions, once again on Instagram. I also have a podcast called the Headspace Podcast, where we have very in-depth, introspective, and existential emotional discussions about various pieces of media, mostly mostly films up until this point, and that podcast is available on all major podcast streaming platforms, links down below in the description. Guys, once again, thank you so much as always for watching. I will see you in the next video, and until then, keep writing, keep shooting, and keep editing.